Hi everyone, Velvet here, and I have some stories for you today. But before we get started, can you please do me a huge favor and like, comment, and subscribe? It'll really help the channel out. Let's get started. Alright, our first story comes from No Maybe 3163. Am I the beehole for kicking out my 72-year-old mother-in-law out of the house at night because she threw away all my things? I, a 36-year-old female, live with my husband, a 41-year-old male. I have a decent relationship with my mother-in-law, compared to a lot of the stories I hear from friends. She's quite sweet and warm. She is, however, a little over-controlling, over-protective? I'm not sure of the exact word. But she has a very strong ideas about things and no sense of boundaries. For example, when she stays at our house, she takes over the kitchen completely and insists on cooking all of our meals. She cooks wonderfully, but she won't let me help her at all and puts everything away in the wrong places and then insists that her way is more logical. She only really comes for holidays though, and I do like her a lot, so I don't mind putting up with these mild annoyances. I'm currently pregnant with our little girl, who'll be born in a few months. This is a miracle. I really didn't think it would happen, especially so late, but we got lucky. When my mother-in-law heard, she was super excited, and she said she would come over to help us get ready for the baby. She offered to stay for the next 6 months or so to help out, because my husband and I both work long hours. And it will be hard to handle the baby on top of this. She's also pretty emotionally invested in this, because she truly sees herself as a part of our family. She arrived a few days ago and set herself up, then she started with the cleaning. I like collecting things from garage sales and such. Things like little sculptures, books, and blankets. Stuff a lot of people would consider utter junk. Our house is definitely overstuffed, but it's reasonably tidy and doesn't seem like a hoarder's house or anything. My mother-in-law, on the other hand, likes everything surgically clean. Yesterday, I came home from work to find the house like a war zone. She went through my cabinets and cleared out everything she considered junk and apparently made several trips to Goodwill before I got home. I was really angry and asked her why she would ever do this. She said the house has to be tidy for the baby, and it would be dangerous for the baby to be in my cluttered house. Then she took the next huge bag of stuff and tried to walk out the door. I kind of lost it, and I told her she can get out right now. She was shocked that I was serious, and she said that she doesn't have anywhere to go and it's so late. It was about 9:30. I booked her a hotel room and called a taxi. My husband came home an hour later, and when I told him what happened, he was furious with me. He says I disrespected his mom and was ungrateful for everything she was trying to do for us. Am I the beehole? Hi, OP. I'm gonna say you're not the beehole on this one. She disrespected you first by coming into your home, taking all your stuff, and giving it away to the Goodwill. She crossed the line. She's a guest in your house, and guests shouldn't, steal your belongings and give it away to Goodwill, because, yeah, that is theft. And what's up with your husband? Why doesn't he have your back against, his overbearing mother? But you need to get this whole mother-in-law situation under control before your child is born, because she's going to be overbearing. I feel like later on we're going to get a story. My mother-in-law, took my baby and ran off. Our next story comes from Pumpkin Proper 7830. Am I the beehole for booking a venue without telling the owner that the celebrity her daughter loves would be there? After high school, my friends and I left our hometown and I settled in a major city about a couple hours away. My friend, Elizabeth, who lives several states away, wanted to have her wedding back home. I helped her look for venues, specifically ones that were self-contained, i.e. where we could sleep, eat, and have the ceremony, and have the reception. Nancy, a hometown acquaintance, runs the venue we chose. And while in the process of visiting and getting everything finalized, I discovered that Nancy's youngest teenage daughter, Natalie, is obsessed with a specific celebrity, Alice, to the point of having Alice-themed merch and posters on her walls. Elizabeth became friends with Alice a few years ago, but I didn't know until we had a logistics call that Alice was going to attend the wedding. Alice mentioned that she wanted to just be another friend at the event instead of doing things like taking photos and singing autographs, and that she was fatigued from her last project, which involved a lot of fan interaction. I reassured her that we were going to stay out in the countryside with a small group of people. So, everything would be fine and she'd be just another wedding guest. The wedding went off without a hitch, but afterwards, Alice posted a few photos with no location identifiers to social media. Still, Natalie follows her and recognized a couple of distinct landscape features, and was hysterical that Alice was at her mom's venue and she didn't get to meet her. Nancy is furious with me and thinks that not only I should have told her Alice was going to be there, but that I should have gotten Natalie in front of her. I'm honestly torn and genuinely feel bad for Natalie, but it also feels like I would have been violating Alice's privacy to do so. Hi, OP. I'm gonna say you're not the b-hole on this one. And that's because Alice said she wanted to be low profile. She didn't want anyone to be there, freaking out about her being celebrity because she did the whole fan thing just recently. Alice obviously wanted a stress-free environment and didn't want to do the whole celebrity thing. She just wanted to be there for her friend and enjoy the wedding like a normal person. Our next one comes from Throw Our Away Daughter's Boyfriend. Am I the b-hole for telling my daughter's boyfriend to stop groping her? So I, a 44-year-old female, have a 20-year-old female daughter, Alexandra, and her boyfriend Marcus, a 21-year-old male. When she first introduced us, I was happy and thought he was really nice and good for her. Today, my husband and I had my parents and my sister come over to our house. Alexandra was also there and invited Marcus over as well, which I was fine with. After Alexandra was done introducing Marcus to her grandparents and aunt, I noticed that Marcus seemed excessively showing my daughter affection, such as long drawn-out kissing, hugging her for long periods, and letting her lay sprawled out on him on the couch. It made me feel uncomfortable, but I let it slide. Until I noticed Marcus was groping my daughter's behind while they kissed on one of my living room couches. I snapped by yelling, making them break away from each other, and said that Marcus needs to stop groping my daughter, because it made me feel uncomfortable, and it was disgusting to do so in front of other people. There was silence until my daughter stood up and told me that she was leaving in a quiet tone. I tried to stop her, but she left anyways with Marcus. Alexandra later texted me that I was a b-hole and a prude for embarrassing her and Marcus like that. I showed the text to my husband, and he said while I was right, I could have been nicer about it. You are not the b-hole on this one. I'm not fond of PDA, but I'm fine with a little kiss on the cheek, some hand-holding, hugging, But what they were doing is pretty gross in front of, family and all that. They're old enough to know what appropriate behavior is in a public setting, with multiple family members being there. I do agree with your husband. You were right, but I do agree with him saying that you could have done this in a more gentler, smoother way. Maybe take them aside, let them know that it's bugging you instead of, putting them on blast in front of everybody. And our final story comes from Morning Jazz. Am I the b-hole for telling my sister, told you so, after she got lectured for feeding her parrot an all-seed diet? My sister has always insisted that I was doing my parrot, Albert, a disservice by feeding him vegetables, since there are so much chemical fertilizers and pesticides around these days. The first time this happened, I told her that I buy organic veggies and wash them before feeding him, and that he needs them for nutrients since the seeds do not contain enough. She scoffed, telling me that her parrot, Jenny, eats only bird seeds and is perfectly healthy. Enter my sister's new boyfriend, a vet. He was horrified to learn about her bird's diet and lectured her. When she whined about it over dinner that day, I muttered, "Told you so." Our mom said I could be a bit more sympathetic since my sister really didn't know any better. You're not the b-hole on this one. And didn't know any better? Google exists. You could Google what do pet parrots eat. Hell, the parrot, story bottom at, I'm pretty sure they go, hey, this is what it eats. This is what you need to do to keep your bird healthy. And also be more sympathetic. Come on now. She was being willfully ignorant. Like I said, Google exists. She could have Googled, what you told her was correct or not. There's nothing to be sympathetic about. You are not the b-hole in this one. I'm glad she got with the vet so that bird isn't it, so that bird can live a healthier life. Hi everybody, thank you so much for making it to the end. And like I said in the beginning, can you please do me a favor and like, comment, subscribe? It'll really help the channel out. Velvet out.